Well, it's sort of hard to believe I'm saying these words, but yes, Midjourney Video has been released, and it is really impressive. Today, we're gonna take a look at where it's flying, a couple of the problem spots, especially on Pushback, some interesting tips and tricks, and what's next for Midjourney Video. Plus, I've got a look at the upcoming creative video upscaler from Topaz. It's pretty cool. Kicking off, yeah, Midjourney Video is now out in the wild, and not only is it really good, but it's actually a lot of fun. Now, a couple of sticky points off the bat. As we had noted in a previous video, Midjourney was looking to keep costs on video generation low. That is a welcome break from the rising cost of video generation, but that does come at the cost of a much lower video resolution. We'll take a look at that as we kick off, checking in back in Las Vegas with our man in the blue business suit. So kicking off with a Midjourney image of, well, what looks like one of those like cheesy wedding chapels in the middle of Las Vegas. I wonder what's going on here. We have an auto feature in low motion or high motion, which basically just generates a video based off of what Midjourney sees, or in manual mode that kind of allows you to control the prompt a bit more. We will dig into that. For now, let's just go ahead and give it a automatic low motion. And we do get, well, what we would suspect, like about a 5-second kind of drone footage type shot. Looks pretty solid. Now, as a note, what we're looking at here is upscaled footage. I did take this shot and ran it through Topaz, not the creative upscaler, just the regular one, mainly doing that for presentation purposes because, well, the Midjourney model only generates video at a raster size of 480. Yeah, this is the actual size of the video. And look, I am not mad at that. Yes, this is now a case where you have to bring your own upscaler, but if that's the solution for Midjourney keeping costs low, I mean, I'm all for it. All right, let's head into that chapel. Oh my, it is not our man in a blue suit. It is our woman in a red dress, and she does appear to be getting married to a man in a green tuxedo. Interestingly here in the prompt, I did note that she is feeling apprehensive about getting married to him. So if we head down to animate image and just use the auto, in other words, it's just going to take the image and begin, applying movement to it. And we'll do that on low. We end up with this as an output, which I find very interesting considering, again, I think it's doing more than just analyzing the image and animating it, considering that she does indeed look apprehensive. So it's definitely taking cues from the prompt. Meanwhile, our guy in the green tuxedo is just like, really? Now? With my entire family here? Really? Playing with manual mode, this is another image that I generated from the same set. Our guy isn't quite in a green tuxedo, but it'll work for now. If we go down to the manual mode down here, I'm just going to, again, hit low motion here. Our image ends up here, start frame essentially, and I'm just going to change the prompt to the woman runs away. We'll roll this, and we now have a runaway bride situation. Our man in a blue business suit should be breathing a sigh of relief if he's not just still sitting there playing the slots. One of the coolest things about Midjourney Video is that it does generate up 4 videos for you at a time. And I've generally found that at least one of them is going to be something that you're looking for. In fact, actually, it usually comes down to a bit of a debate between like 2 of them. One place that Midjourney Video is really excelling is, ironically enough, hands. Yeah, I noted this in our first look video. It's doing a really great job with hands. I mean, you might hem and haw a little bit on the slightly elongated thumb, but I think the important thing here is that, the fingers aren't turning into like a smoky jello spider that is going to haunt you for the rest of your life. But going back to prompting, one of the things that I'm having just a ton of fun with is going back and finding older generations and just letting it roll on auto, either on low motion or in high motion. What's interesting here is that a lot of times it'll catch things that were in your initial prompt that your image did not provide. For example, in this prompt, we did have holding a sword, and the initial image did not have a sword. So running this on low motion, we now have a video of our guy issuing a challenge that I do not think he's going to be able to back up. Character movement and emoting are kind of staggeringly on point. Take, for example, our Viking guy here, clearly screaming Valhalla as he marches towards, well, what is probably going to be his doom. Another example of that rock solid movement with Cyberpunk Grandma John Wick here about to wreck shop. Now, I'm not going to say it's always perfect. There's the stutter step right there with our cyberpunk woman with long white hair walking down a cyberpunk street, although this kind of came out a little bit more like northern Canada. But one benefit of generating natively on Midjourney is that as the generation continues, particularly in a tracking shot like this, we do end up getting like Midjourney designy stuff that ends up appearing that look natural to the world. But again, I do want to point out that when it hits, man, it hits. I mean, take just this shot that looks like straight out of, I don't know, some crime drama that I'm definitely watching on one of the streaming services. I mean, this looks so good. I don't even care that there's like a production assistant that comes running across right there. That kid is getting fired by the end of the day. Speaking of movement, checking in with our Kung Fu fight sequence is always a fun test that I like to run here. Not bad. I mean, again, not perfect, but there's a lot to like in here. There's a lot of like high energy movement, a lot of really great camera work. And in general, I mean, just a lot of these like Kung Fu fight tests have come a long way in this latest iteration of video models. Quick sidebar with this generation, which kind of takes us back to acting and emoting. Absolutely love watching this little girl commit to her path of vengeance. This is a situation where I'm glad that Midjourney isn't natively generating audio, because if you have kids, you know exactly what that scream sounds like. Another interesting find with Flamethrower Girl here, which is a 10-second extension, is that if you notice here at the very beginning of the clip, we've kind of got like that gibberish text that's going by. Yeah, text is still gibberish. What's interesting is that obviously the text here, gibberish again, but does stylistically match. And as this, you know, kind of like train thing goes by here, yeah, same gibberish text back here. So impressive. I know that people always complain that Midjourney can't spell. To me, it's not that big a deal. Background consistency, that's much more impressive. For example, our Orc Barbarian Queen here, this is an extension. She does have a bit of a stutter step here, but I think the thing that's really impressive to me here is you know, the temporal coherency of our background orcs. They are all staying in character. They're not kind of fusing together. They all look like, well, they're in costume. Before moving over to stylized output, which is where I think this model really flies, I did just want to point out that you can create new things within extensions. For example, taking this Cyberpunk pirate, so merging my love of pirates and Cyberpunk. If we go down to just a manual low motion and add in the prompt, pan left, and reveal a cyberpunk pirate ship, we do indeed get our pan left, and for a like cyberpunk-ish pirate ship. I didn't spend a whole lot of time prompting details on that, but you know, we did get it. Moving over to stylized and animation type outputs, this was something that I noted in the first look that I thought this model was really going to fly with, and it does not disappoint. Take, for example, this animated output of a character lost in the dark woods, adapted from a very public domain French fairy tale. One place that I think the model does extremely well is with the kind of like hybrid CGI stop motion animation kind of look, whimsical fairy tale stuff. This looks great. And I got to admit, even in the like not perfect generations, like here, you know, a sword just kind of appears out of nowhere, and whatever our like bumblebee, hummingbird characters back here aren't moving. The things to concentrate on here that are awesome is the character itself, the movement, and the consistency of the style. So as always, it might take a few re-rolls or a necessity to move into any one of the number of editing tools available to us on Midjourney. But I mean, you will end up with like a Mad Hatter here as well. I mean, that's kind of insanely good. Different stylization, but equally impressed here. We've run Guitar Playing Girl here once or twice on the channel. One thing that I always note with like guitar playing is that a lot of times you'll see that the fingers become, you know, actual fingers, or the guitar changes into a real guitar. I mean, here we are staying stylistically consistent. It's really impressive. Movement here, really rock solid as well. Another output here in more of a modern animation style. Yeah, man, I don't really have much to say about this other than this looks pretty amazing. Another interesting point on extensions is just kind of letting it roll and seeing what you end up getting. For example, in an initial video output here, we ended up with this, which to be honest, I was not expecting. I did not expect that tree to become like a biomechanical creature. I was like, well, what's going to happen here? So I just hit an extend. And to my surprise, well, they ended up hugging, which I was not expecting. That's kind of adorable. And I do think that that showcases something pretty interesting about the Midjourney video model, is that, you know, I know we're always looking for absolute control, but when you kind of let it do its own thing, it'll surprise you with some pretty interesting results. Rounding out with some tests, interestingly, using Midjourney V4 and V5. About a week before release, it was noted that the model really seems to like V4, and that's good news for me because I loved V4. So kicking off with this image, very much like 1980s Ridley Scott historical fiction, we end up with this as an output, and that is pretty stellar. Yeah, I mean, the amount of disdain that our king here has, I mean, we cannot wait to see his head chopped off at the end of the movie. But one of the things that I love about this is that it really retains a lot of that like grain and color desaturation from like a film of this era. Like, this looks really good. Another test with a 1980s style Conan character here. I mean, this guy is awesome. I don't know what it means when he crosses his arms like that, but I hope he's pledging allegiance to our cause. Another output here in kind of a Dario Argento, Suspiria type vibe. It's interesting taking these older images. You can kind of see a little bit of a trick that the Midjourney video engine is pulling here. If you notice, if you look really closely, you can see that there's a point where the video model kind of takes over the V4 character facial attributes. So that is, it's kind of actually almost serving like its own little upscaler. But again, I have always loved that dirty, like not quite natural Vaseline over the lens kind of look that Midjourney V4 has. And so bringing it into video, I mean, I think that this stuff looks awesome. So some interesting notes in terms of pushback. This is something that I know a number of people run into from time to time. Like the auto modding on Midjourney can be a little hair trigger. Well, for one, Kissy Face Girl, who we have run a couple of times on the channel, will not do Kissy Face. So unfortunately, if you want her to kiss the camera lens, you got to head over to Higgsfield for that. This generation, obviously based on kind of 1980s Cold War, dead drop espionage sort of thing. I wanted to have the guy on the left shoot the guy on the right. The video model was like, nope, not going to let you do that. So instead, they're just kind of palling around. This was another interesting one where this was done during our stylization test. These guys are like not moving until the very last second with a giant robot walking towards them. And clearly like they're about to get stomped on. So I was like, okay, we're definitely running an extension on this to see what happens. And obviously the model did push back on me there, not allowing me to squish the people. Though interesting, I did just run it again now, and we ended up with this as a result. So clearly, you know, the Midjourney video model is learning. It's still not squishing people. Now it's just giving me a bad output where the robot starts walking backwards. I did have a straight up Keanu Reeves as John Wick output from V5 that I wanted to try out. So running that, and that obviously kicked me right back, and that's okay. We don't need AI John Wick. We have real John Wick movies to watch. Rounding out with a quick trick and a hot tip. If you need a 360 rotation for any one of your characters, if you just prompt in 360-degree rotation, you will indeed get a 360-degree rotation. Now, granted, she is moving here, but you could probably prompt out of that. I do want to know that the model might get a little bit funky if your character has props with them, like this sword here kind of goes wibbly wobbly as it's circling around and actually isn't connected to her at one point or another. So just keep an eye out for that. On the tip side, while this is a very affordable model, again, you are going to burn through them pretty quickly because this is a lot of fun. So while you can hop up to the $60 a month Pro plan and get 30 hours of fast generations, to note, I burned through about 27 hours of them in the course of making this video. I generated a lot of stuff that you did not see though. The smart play here is to come up into your settings and make sure that your speed is on relax so that you aren't consuming fast hours. You will still be able to generate video, might take you a little bit longer, but again, you aren't burning fast hours. Overall, I mean, I have been saying that Midjourney is not going to be the video generator to rule them all, and indeed, it still isn't. It does lack some bells and whistles, but overall it is coming in extremely strong, much stronger than I had expected. But to me, its real secret weapon is that stylistic consistency even across multiple extensions. I mean, that is a BFG. Overall, kudos to Midjourney on the launch of video. I know there was a lot of chatter that people weren't expecting much from Midjourney video. Clearly, in my opinion, they have over-delivered here. Sliding over to the land of Topaz, they are about to release Astra, which is a creative video upscaler. This is kind of handy timing considering we are just coming off the Midjourney section, which is outputting at 480. So like peanut butter and jelly, figured let's give it a shot with some of our Midjourney outputs. As a note, I did get early beta access to this. There is a link to the waitlist down below if you want to sign up for early beta access as well. I'm not exactly sure when they will be releasing this. I'm pretty sure it's probably pretty soon. So obviously, you know, we upload an image. You have options to do it either in precise or creative for your upscaling. And from there, if you're under precise, you have options for speed or quality. Obviously, you probably want to use quality. And then under creative, you have subtle or bold. So kicking it off with our Sneering King here, I can almost guarantee you he's saying you'll be back. So this is the 480 output. And then running it through Astra with a creative bold. Yeah, it's really cleans it up quite a bit. It is definitely very impressive. Really comes off as like, an HD remaster of an old movie. I'll say that one thing that kind of surprised me is, I had been joking around saying that I'm always going to use creative bold. But when we take our Sea Pirate, Sea Punk guy here and utilizing that creative bold, we do see that like, it isn't necessarily always going to give you exactly what you want. It's going to take some liberties. Like it did take away our skull mask here. And now it's just like a dude wearing goggles. So I had to end up taking a knee and bringing it down to precise quality where indeed we still retain our guy with his mask. So it cleans it up a pretty good amount. I mean, it looks really solid here. Again, this is now up to 1080 and we retain, the mask. It does really well with the subtle creative with the last stand of the dumbest knight ever. That dragon cleans up really nicely. You can see that just textures in, all of the scales and whatnot. This looks really fantastic. Now, I will note that one place that I think the model could probably improve a bit is actually with our Viking guy here. So after we run him through a precise quality, it looks really good. I just think it kind of cleans up like the grit and dirt from his face just a little too much. Like he looks just a little too clean now. And finally, rounding out our 3-image Midjourney video ended up coming through. So this is as it natively was, and then taking it through on Creative Bold, we ended up with this. It's actually a lot more subtle than I was expecting. It definitely looks cooler. It's more detailed and now running at 1080. If Topaz, if you guys want to do like, a creative spicy mode, kick it up a notch, please do. Overall, I do think that this is a tool that you're definitely going to want to check out. Once again, link to the beta waitlist is down below. If you sign up for it, I'm sure they're going to let you know once it actually does release. Other than that, I will definitely also let you know once it releases. Until then, we have plenty of other tools to play around with. In fact, I'm going to go check the news right now, see what happened today. As always, I thank you for watching. My name is Tim.